Hello, BookTube. The new issue of Entertainment Weekly came. I thought we'd take a perambulation through it, as we tend to do, looking for bookish content. And you would think, I mean, this thing has a circulation well to the north of 2 million subscribers, and we are a pop culture saturated country. So you would think that boring old books would be the very small part of Entertainment Weekly. But as I've mentioned in this little installment that we do many times, that's actually not the case. The entertainment industry in almost every aspect except maybe music is absolutely saturated with bookish content, as you can see for the second time in a row right on the cover. This is the new movie of Mary Poppins, which was a series of books by P.L. Travers. So right there you have, just like with Game of Thrones, right here you have a bookish origin to the thing they put on their cover. So let's poke into the issue and see what we find. Oh, is that... you have my little tablet charging in the background. That's eerie, isn't it? Okay, first full-page ad is for a book. The studio and the publisher have put the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them scripts into ornate books in time for the holidays. I haven't watched any of these movies. I feel like they would be so saturated with... just so filled from front to back with call-outs and fan service to Harry Potter fanatics that I feel like I wouldn't get a lot of it. Maybe I should. Maybe they're good anyway. But I think decorative screenplays like that are a sign of how much the book industry, just as in general, wishes that J.K. Rowling would write a Potterverse novel. Go back to Harry Potter somehow. So whether these would be the natural ones to take these screenplays and write novels out of them, but you could do a lot else too, and I think they wish that she would do that. So I think I've talked to a lot of Harry Potter fans who may or may not like the Fantastic Beasts movies. I mean, they're competently done. There's not much in them to dislike, as far as I can tell, but who really wish that they were books. I've also talked to a number of Harry Potter fans, rather touchingly, who wished that J.K. Rowling would write a new series of books set in the Harry Potter universe, so that they could have the pleasure of watching their own children go through the magical introduction to the world of reading that they had with the original Harry Potter novels, where that one night of the year you're allowed to stay up until midnight for the debut party at your bookstore, and all of a sudden you're surrounded by other readers your own age, and that the ability to just move in and live in these books that they had when they were kids, and now they're having kids of their own, and they wish their own kids had that same experience from the same author who's still alive, in the prime of health, perfectly able to write a Harry Potter novel if she wanted to. I don't quite know what to think about that, but I think these books aren't really going to scratch that itch. I could be wrong. What have we got here? We've got their Entertainment Weekly's sort of must list at the beginning has a book. It's called Seduction by Karina Longworth. It's about, the subtitle is Howard Hughes' Hollywood, Sex, Lies, and Seduction in Howard Hughes' Hollywood. So it's a nonfiction work. I don't know if you can make out the cover. They make these tiny little thumbnails for the covers. It's a nonfiction work about old Hollywood. I read a chunk of it when I had an advance copy and really liked the bounce of the narrative. I just never got back to it. So I haven't actually read the whole thing. Okay, we keep going on with countdowns here. There's the Smashing Pumpkins. There's an original cable show about Robert the Bruce. There's a cartoon remake of She-Ra. Now, some of you who remember old cartoons will remember She-Ra, Princess of Power. This is... I guess that young boy is going to be a character in She-Ra? I don't know why he's holding her sword, but I imagine the cartoon will make it all clear, and that she will make her appearance somewhere. He seems startled, so maybe he's not supposed to be holding her sword. Okay, and then we get the big article on the new Mary Poppins, which will have, as usual, the combination of live-action and cartoon characters, just like the original did 150 years ago when it premiered. And as a special treat, this new movie, even though it takes place 150 years after the appearance of the original Mary Poppins, Dick Van Dyke is still in it. sort of astounding. And then we have, we move on to holidays, to holiday movies, must-see movies during the holidays. So we're working our way back to the books. We'll see if the must-see holiday movies have any bookish origins. Oh, and okay, the first one doesn't. The first one is The Favorite, which I'm actually looking forward to. I don't have a screener for it. It's about Queen Anne. Amazingly, it's about Queen Anne and her relationship with her best friend. Queen Anne is, I love to read about her. It's a fascinating period. She was a fascinating and utterly tragic person. And I was kind of mystified when I heard that there was going to be a movie about her. We'll see if it's any good. What else? Oh, okay. This one I have seen. Into the Spider-Verse. This is, I don't know if you can make it out in the glare, but this is an animated Spider-Man movie that mostly stars Miles Morales. Different Spider-Man, same origin story, but a young bisexual black kid instead of Peter Parker. And in this cartoon, it largely centers on him. And some aspects of his cartoon, of his comic book character, are sort of finessed or airbrushed. But it brings in Spider-Man from all across reality, all sorts of different alternate reality versions of Spider-Man, including Peter Parker. And it's just amazing. It's just an amazing, amazing movie. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I'm not a huge fan of Spider-Man, but I loved every minute of it. We have Instant Family with Mark Wahlberg. Ralph Breaks the Internet. On the Basis of Sex, the new biopic about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Okay, another movie recommendation, Aquaman. Never thought in a million years I would be recommending an Aquaman movie, but it's incredible. It's amazingly good. It is so non-gimmicky. I admit, I cringed a little when I saw the initial set mock-ups, and when I got a kind of a sense of the plot, and when I got a kind of a sense of the casting. There are 5 major roles in the movie, and of those 5 major roles, 3 are by actors who, no matter what they're saying on the studio-financed interview tour, couldn't pick Aquaman out of a police lineup 2 years ago, and do not read comic books, and do not care about anything, the fandom, or anything like that. 3 of the 5 of the cast wouldn't be caught dead at a science fiction convention, and yet I think we'll probably be contractually obligated to go to one. I can't wait to see that. It'll be horrible. And I thought, because of that, and because if there's one thing we've learned in the last 15 years of superhero movies, it's that fan service, doing what the fans want, giving them faithful and passionate, interactive experiences with characters rather than changing things, is what works. Thanks to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, comic book fans have grown accustomed to that. They expect it. And if you give it to them, they will make you multi-billionaires. But if you don't give it to them, they will leave your movie high and dry. And we've seen that over and over again. We've seen the Marvel Cinematic Universe shows us exactly how you can tweak and change comic book material to make a cinematic universe while still being respectful enough to win over almost every fan. And if you don't do that, if you are, for instance, an alternate company and you make a live-action Fantastic Four movie that takes 1,000 liberties with the Fantastic Four and for some unknown reason has the Thing running around naked all throughout the movie, running around naked all throughout a Fantastic Four movie, if you do that for some reason, if you have the Thing naked, if you have Sue Storm and Johnny Storm being 2 different skin colors, if you have a villain who has a totally different origin, the team has a totally different origin, nobody has the right character, fans will not embrace your movie. They will not do it. Whereas if you do it right, they will. And that worried me when I saw that casting for Aquaman, because I thought, okay, well, if 5 out of 5 main roles, 3 of them don't care at all about that sort of stuff, don't know anything about it, and don't care about it, how are you going to get that vibe to come across on the screen? But they do. They do, very much so. Maybe all you need, if 3 of your 5 major cast members aren't really comic book fans and you're making a comic book movie, maybe all you really need is for one of the two remaining comic book fans to be not only the star of the show, but also physically as big as the three holdouts together. Just some sort of conglomeration of them all. Maybe if you have one really big comic book fan on the cast, that will make a difference. I don't know. I don't know how that works. Oh, okay, here we have Vice, the new movie about Dick Cheney that I've also seen and is also amazing. Then a movie called Bird Box, a movie called Roma. I don't know either of these. Don't have screeners for them. Tons and tons of Hollywood movies. Good Lord. Okay, another full-page ad also for a book. This is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nagan. Look at all that praise. Good Lord. I don't have it. Don't recall having received it. Probably understandable. I don't get a lot of YA, but I will nevertheless check around for it. Oh, okay. Next we have a whole page of books. Books to get cozy with. Look at that. Books to cozy up with. For the long winter, Boston had 55 glorious minutes of sunlight today. It was just wonderful. It was, I tell you, after the 35th minute, I was thinking, is this sun never going to set? 51.5 minutes tomorrow. Anyway, what have we got here? A Christmas Revelation by Anne Perry. Death and Daisies by Amanda Flower. All The Colors of All the Cattle by Alexander McCall Smith, his latest. I can't show you the covers because they're so small. I don't know why they do this. Oh, fantastic. Oh, great. One of the books that's represented here is Lynn Truss's book, A Shot in the Dark, which we have seen. It's a murder mystery set in post-war resort England. What do they say about it? Crime is low in the sunny seaside town of Brighton, England, circa 1957, until a despised critic meets his end in a crowded theater, exposing the iceberg tip of the criminal underworld. And what's called... okay, this feature is by Leah Greenblatt. We've seen her on the book's covers before. And there's a little thing in each column called Critic's Take. I'm assuming the critic is her. Truss, author of the best-selling grammar manual Eats, Shoots, and Leaves, writes with the dry, old-timey wit of a BBC radio play, which Shot's bumbling police force has its origins in. Okay, could have been written a little better, but I agree. It's a terrific book. And then the next one is Ellery Adams' The Whispered Word, which has scones and books and a fireside on the cover. I don't know that. The plot is a teenager turns up bruised and traumatized in Nora's North Carolina bookshop. It will take several sketchy deaths to find out who she is and how she connects to the town's secrets. And the critic's take for this one is, the still life of books and scones on the cover makes Word seem sillier than it is. In fact, it's a love letter to reading, with sharp characterizations and a smart central mystery. Oh, no, I want it. Now me wanty. And because this is just a quick column, it doesn't tell me who the publisher is. I will have to find out. I'll have to find out if I can get a copy of The Whispered Word. For all I know, it's an October release, something like that. That's interesting. Books to cozy up with. Never really understood that, but I guess it's an active factor for a lot of people in the wintertime. Then we have movies. Then we get to the movie section, and one of them is Girl in the Spider's Web, which is, a spin-off of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. That has, you could say definitely that has its origin in books. A Van Gogh movie, Widows, Ballad of Buster Scruggs. No bookish content. Then we get to TV, holiday specials, drag racing, another full-page story. We had one last week. Another full-page story about the gay on TV. This one's about a character who comes out as gay on Grey's Anatomy, and the actor who plays him. Okay. And then we get to what to watch. Doubt there'll be any bookish content here, where they mention She-Ra, the Princess of Power again. But once again, in the tiny little thumbnail, they show a teenage boy. So I guess they're saving She-Ra's appearance for, the debut of the cartoon. Kind of odd. Maybe the teenage boy plays a vital part in the cartoon. I don't remember a teenage boy character from the She-Ra cartoon, but maybe they've added somebody. And then let's see here. Then we get to music. Steve's not much with the music. Oh, but there's a side article on this Jeff Tweedy person who has a book. He has a memoir that we got. And I made a fool of myself because I didn't know anything about it at all. More music, yet more music. Oh, okay, fine. All right, finally we are all the way back at the landing dock where the books are. So we have an article by Clarissa Cruz on 9 Perfect Strangers by Leanne Moriarty. It's not a review, it's just sort of a discussion of that book for 2 whole pages. Good Lord. Okay, they must be behind the book. And then Alice Isn't Dead and Limetown, two novels that sprang out of podcasts. I saw them both, I tried them both, and it was a private language from start to finish. It was in-jokes from start to finish. So they might be workable novels, but only if you know the podcasts that they spring from. So, and I don't. So I still don't get podcasts. I still don't get it. I still don't get them at all. I don't get how you listen to them. I don't get when you listen to them. Maybe their success is entirely rooted in a world that I just don't have any part of. And that world is commuting to and from work, or errands, or kids, or whatever. Commuting, listening while driving could easily be the motor behind the success of podcasts, and I don't do anything like that. So every time I look at my day and I think, okay, you've heard a lot of great things about a lot of literary podcasts. Can you work them into your day? Every time I look at my day, I think, well, no. No. If it's a podcast, if it's all people talking, then I'm going to want to pay it close attention. So I can't do that while I'm writing. I'm certainly not going to do that while I'm reading. And what else do I do? I'm not gonna be one of these obnoxious humans I see that listens to music or talks on the phone while they're walking their dog. While I'm walking my dog, I'm talking with my dog and every other dog. So I don't. Even if I understood them, I don't think I would have time. I don't think I have a slot in my life for them. I think I think their success is mostly commutes. I don't know otherwise. Every time I hear someone who doesn't commute saying, well, I listened to a podcast this morning, I think, well, don't you complain at the end of the month that you don't have enough time for reading? Isn't that what you do? Anyway, oh God. Oh God. There's a little sidebar feature on Jonathan Franzen. There's his happy face right there. He has a new essay collection called The End of the Earth. And someone named Dana Schwartz pulls out some quotes. Shall we have a few Jonathan Franzen quotes to brighten our winter day? On technology, on tech. We spend our days reading on screens stuff we'd never bother reading in a printed book, and then complain about how busy we are. What about on Ute? He's noticed some local Utes, and he wants to complain about them. The young person who cannot or will not be alone, converse with the family, go out with friends, attend a lecture, or perform a job without monitoring her smartphone is an emblem of our political economy's leech-like attachment to our very bodies. Maybe he's intentionally doing a Gore Vidal impersonation. It could be. Maybe he's seen some videos of very old Gore Vidal, and he's thinking now that person is no longer here, there's a vacuum. But anyway, the last one is on not visiting Antarctica. Why not just wait for it to melt and cross itself off the list of travel destinations? Okay, let's move on from Jonathan Franzen. Can't wait for your next novel. Eagerly waiting for your next novel. Then we have a feature on coffee table books. Big gift books for the season, which I love. Although the 3 that are mentioned here, 2 of them, one of them is a cookbook, one of them is a fashion book, and one of them is something I am interested in. I've seen notices of it, but I haven't seen the book yet, called It's Saturday Morning, which the cover is so tiny, but it is a celebration of classic Saturday morning cartoons. I would love to see that, but I haven't seen a copy of it yet, so maybe it hasn't come out yet. But anyway, that is the book coverage. That is it for the Entertainment Weekly book coverage. Again, incredibly healthy. It's once again starting off with a book and just continuing touching base with books throughout the whole of the magazine. So that gives me hope for Middle America, where I've spent a great deal of time. But anyway, we'll get back to bookish content in no time. Thank you, Book 2.